Mitt Romney is trying to sabotage Mike Lee. Mike Lee, senator from Utah. Mitt Romney, senator from Utah. Mitt Romney took some time off after he was smacked in 2012, and it humbled him. Well, at least we thought it would have humbled him, but now not so much. And so Mike Lee has been, he's up for re-election, and he's running against, what's that guy's name? Evan McMuffin? That's his name. I'm not changing it. Don't correct me. It's his name. And that guy's a stooge. He's an absolute stooge. He doesn't have any accomplishments. He's just, first off, before I use this phrase, you guys, sidebar, I'm going to bring it back. Bear with me. You guys know what a damn it doll is? I used to have family members that would make this for crafts down in the Ozarks. And it's like this doll that I was like, it looks like voodoo, so maybe don't. But they would, and you would, if you were near mad, you would hit it on the bed. Damn it, damn it. Anyway, that's the whole thing. Maybe 5 of you out there are going to understand this reference. Apparently it was very popular at the crafts with the craft fairs and that. Anyway, my grandma had one. It was on her bed. I just thought it was funny. But they're using Evan McMuffin as the aforementioned damn it doll. I guess they're using him as the vessel for all of their revenge against Republicans that they don't like. And Mitt Romney, I mean, Mike Lee is about as conservative as you can get. And he's smart. He's not bombastic. He's incredibly, he's very intelligent. And so it's amazing to me that that Mitt Romney is being so incredibly, and no, it doesn't. He's just being petty. That's Mitt Romney. So he's been working against Mike Lee. He's refusing to endorse him. And some people are saying that you're doing this at the expense of a Senate majority. You could be jeopardizing the Senate majority. It's that, because he has his principles. And so they had said, pull this up. This is, according to PJ Media, they were talking to some people and also Deseret News about Lee's election and the Evan McMuffin, whose campaign ads, he's like, oh, I'm a CIA operative. Yeah, go ahead and keep bragging about that, considering everything that we just saw in 2016. But, you do you. And Mike Lee's always been accessible. He's always been a reliable conservative, incredibly constitutionally based. And he tweeted out that he was grateful for the support of his Senate colleagues, and pretty much all the Republican senators endorsed him except for Mitt Romney. That's it. And I'm not quite sure what his beef is, why he's so, because Lee was the one, and Lee was always very articulate in his discussion and dissent with parts of what had happened January 6th. Mike Lee wanted to have, and I've explained this before, he supported a moratorium in order to validate those ballots that came from those areas that had dropped their voter integrity protections as mandated by their state constitutions, which was not support. That has nothing to do with overthrowing the election. It's so stupid. It's just so ridiculous. Long story short, some are saying, well, it's either, I don't even think it's that for Romney. I think Mitt Romney wants to be kingmaker. He is still bruised from losing horrifically in 2012. I remember election night 2012, it was, right when Florida's numbers started coming in, I knew immediately he lost. I'm like, oh my gosh, he does not have the math. And it was 8 o'clock. He lost so early on. And so, no, Romney's not, but that's what Romney does. PJ Media says he puts the shiv to Republicans all the time. And he's just petty. I shared a story earlier, how when I was a token conservative commentator at CNN in 2012, I was brought in. I first started doing election coverage with ABC in 2010 for Tea Party stuff. In 2012, I was covering the election for CNN. We were in Atlanta at the time at their headquarters. And all throughout that election cycle, as a commentator, as a contributor, you go on, you talk about certain issues, and the election, everybody's talking about the election. And the one thing that I couldn't get past, I didn't like him on gun control. I hated Romney on gun control in Massachusetts because he likes weapons bans. And I did not like him on health care. And that was the one talking point that Republicans were not able to successfully refute, is that Mitt Romney, Obama didn't create Obamacare. Mitt Romney created Obamacare in Massachusetts. And you can argue and try to deflect and say, oh, well, it was state-based as opposed to nation-based. But it shouldn't even be that. That's the whole thing. This should be something that you can buy individually and take it with you. It shouldn't be administered even by the state. So you're changing out one authoritative entity with another. That does nothing to support your argument or help your argument that he is somehow a constitutional conservative. It's not. And not to be mean or malicious, I was just going to be honest about it. I am not the type of commentator that goes on television or radio and blows smoke up the ass of whatever politician in order to remain in the good graces of that party. I don't need to do that. I know a lot of other people do, and they pay their dues that way so that they can have that power adjacent position. But you're not serving your audience. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of commentary has devolved into. And I can say that with complete experience and authority. And with Romney, his campaign got so mad at me that what I was told is that they were calling CNN and that they were demanding first that I be fired. And then I guess they were kind of talked away from that. And they said, they demanded to have either a Romney surrogate or a campaign apologist on with me every single segment. And I blew up. I'm like, we're not doing that. And here's the other thing. Out of all the years that I have been in politics, and I have been on radio since 2008, out of all of the years that I've been in politics, I have never, I've gone after Democrats and Republicans hard. I have never had a politician squawk except Mitt Romney. And that to me said everything. The fact that you could not even overlook someone who, I'm just looking at this from his campaign's perspective. You might want to make inroads or at least remain on friendly terms. But he didn't care. People sit here and say Trump has an ego. This is crazy. I've disagreed with Trump on stuff, and I've known Trump for a decade, personally. I've known his family. I've talked to the campaign, and there were discussions even before he got going. I'm like, I'm comfortable in radio, but I appreciate the outreach and that. And there was he never did this. Romney's people were apoplectic. And they ultimately, CNN did not do that. They did not have an apologist or a surrogate on with me every single time I talked about the issue, but I never forgot that he was so vengeful, and he and his campaign were so petty that they couldn't even overlook that. And it just makes me think, well, if it's something over that small, what about bigger issues? And I think he's also jealous of Mike Lee, because Mike Lee, there is a healthy respect for Mike Lee amongst Democrats because he's smart. Yes, he uses populism in small amounts to season how he presents things. He is a hardcore constitutionalist. He has an absolutely impeccable record and legal expertise. And I think Romney's jealous. I think that Romney does not like the competition because Lee, the contrast of him with Lee makes him look more ridiculous and more leftist. And I also think that he's been so bruised from 2012, he wants to be kingmaker. He doesn't want anybody to go through the gates, so to speak, in Utah unless he's approved it. And he can sit here and tout his faith and tout his principles all he wants to, but too many of us have seen the real thing. And I dare say that actually I can't stand when I see politicians do stuff like that. And then they hide behind the veneer of faith while having all of this other really malicious machination. I can't, it's fake and it's fraudulent.